Hello to our wonderful Math Core family. I would love to welcome you back to lesson number 11 of the Operations on the Real Numbers course. I'm Mrs. Cofield, and today we'll be talking about lesson number 11 with a focus on multiplying fractions with simplifying and mixed numbers. Now, we're going to jump right in, but before we do, let's talk about my favorite as a review from yesterday. Yesterday we discovered the main principle of multiplication, and it says, boom, you can multiply anything times anything. Isn't that amazing? Like when I say anything, like I really mean like anything, like, whoa. Sorry, just a second. Hello? Yes. Like right now, I'm in the middle of a lesson, but okay, I got it. Okay, guys, stay tuned for this message from Math Core News Network Studios. Breaking news right now.
Good evening. Rocky Stone's here with a special report. At New York's Kennedy Airport today, an individual later discovered to be a public school teacher was arrested trying to board a flight while in possession of a ruler, a protractor, a set square, and a calculator. He is being charged with carrying weapons of math instruction.
Okay, so like I was saying, you can multiply anything times anything. So let's go ahead and talk about what it looks like when you're multiplying fractions. Now, I know that we've done this before, but this time I want to make sure that you write this down in your notes. So in order to multiply fractions, just multiply straight across. And I mean like just straight across, okay? Like you don't have to do all that fancy stuff like getting a common denominator, finding the CD, and all that. Just multiply straight across. So let's give an example of what I mean. 7/13 times 3/10. Can you multiply 13s times 10s? You take a guess. The answer is yes. Why? Because you can multiply anything times anything. They don't both have to be 13ths or 10ths. Just multiply straight across. So let's go ahead and do that. 7 times 3 is 21, and 13 times 10 is 130. So you end up with 21 130ths. What about the case of 5 times 3 11ths? Can you do that? Of course you can, because you can multiply anything times anything, right? Yes, that's right. So what you need to remember though is that 5, if you were to write it as a fraction, what that actually is 5 over 1, right? So we're talking about multiplying straight across. So we have 5 over 1 times 3 over 11. And when you multiply straight across, 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 11 is 11. So we end up with 15 11ths. Let's move forward. Now this time, we're going to multiply, writing our answer in simplest terms. Now we have 17 19ths times 19 23rds. Woo! Okay. Yeah, we can do this. We can do this. Right? Because we know that we can multiply anything times anything, but it just kind of threw me off looking at that 19 and that 23rd. But nevertheless, here we go. When you multiply straight across, 17 times 19 gives us 323. 19 times 23 gives us 437. So our answer is 323 437ths. Whew. That number is pretty steep, right? Look at those instructions. They said to write our answer in simplest terms. Now I told you guys, that multiplication was like way simpler than addition and subtraction. But when you see stuff like this, it kind of looks like it's more daunting and more difficult, like, whoa. But you know what? I wouldn't want to do that. And mathematicians, they're always thinking about something, and I know mathematicians know that there's something more that we can do so that we don't get to this point right here. I just thought of something. There is something that we can do. Mathematicians, let's talk about what we discussed yesterday. We had a basic idea that we talked about. And that basic idea, one of them said that multiplication is commutative. Do you remember what that means? That means that we can switch the numbers around, like A times B equals B times A. So in this case, these numbers that we have, like 17 times 19, can be equal to 19 times 17. Do you realize this is great news? Here's why. Oh my God. We can use the commutative property of multiplication, also known as the C law, to switch the denominators. You know what's going to happen when we switch those denominators? Let's find out, guys. So that means if we add 17 19 times 19 23rds, then those denominators, 19 and 23, 19 times 23 equals 23 times 19. Wow! So we know, yes, we can multiply these things. Absolutely. You can multiply anything times anything. But once we get to this point right here and we switch those denominators, watch what happens. Wow. We now have 17 23rds times 19 19ths. 19 19ths. Do you know what that really is? That's really a form of 1. Guys, this is awesome. So that means that we have 17 23rds times 1. And that is only 17 23rds. It's already simplified. Wow. Shout out to the great mathematicians who figured this out. Shout out to the commutative property of multiplication. Yes! This is wonderful news. We can do this. We can do this, guys. We don't have to go through all that daunting stuff. We don't have to see those big, huge numbers and be like, oh my God. So here's some huge advice. When multiplying fractions, use the C law to simplify before you multiply. Why? A great man named Dr. Khan said that simplifying makes things simple. Woo! That's so amazing. Simplifying makes things simple. So we're going to simplify before we multiply. So let's go ahead and see what we can do next. I know you guys are rocking and rolling now, and you can try this one. You know what? I can kind of see it right now, but we're going to go through it step by step. We have 25 36 times 19 25ths. Woo! Again, huge, huge denominators. I mean, they're not the worst in the world, but I don't want to do that. So yes, we can multiply 36 times 25ths, but do we want to? No! Absolutely not. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use that commutative property. We're about to switch some things around. But this time, we're going to switch it around in the numerator, okay? So if we switched 25 with 19 from our numerator, we get 19 36 times 25 25ths. And you say it. You say it. I know you can see it. Yes, this right here, 25 25ths. Again, that's another form of 1, right? So it's really saying 19 36 times 1. And what does that equal to? It's simply 19 36. It's already simplified. I think I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving it. So I think that you guys can do one more of these. Here we go. We have 7 15ths times 10 11ths. Can we multiply 15ths times 11ths? Of course you can, because you can multiply anything times anything. But look at this. Those numbers, it looks like they got something going on there. Like, you know, they can kind of mesh together, and maybe we can do some things regarding simplifying, right? Because remember, simplifying makes things simple. So here we go. If we use the commutative property and we switch those numbers around, here's what we're going to get. 10 15ths times 7 11ths. Now, we all know that 10 15ths, that's just 2/3, right? Boom. So now we have 2/3 times 7 11ths. I'm so excited about that. And now we can multiply straight across. So if you multiply 7 times 2, that gives us 14. And 3 times 11 gives us 33. So our final answer is 14 33rds. Wait a second. Just in case you didn't catch what I did there, how that 10/15ths, how I said that's 2/3. Yeah, we can do a quick review. We're simplifying 10/15ths, right? And the way we do that is by factoring out a form of 1. Can anyone tell me what number goes into both 10 and 15? Yes, the number 5 does. So that means our form of 1 is 5/5. And then 5/5 times 2/3 gives us that 10/15ths. So again, we identify this as a form of 1. And once we get rid of that guy, that's how we got our 2/3, okay? So don't forget how to simplify whenever you have like fractions such as these. They had that number 5 in common. So let's move forward because this is just so exciting to me. Sweet relief. Now we're going to get into multiplying mixed numbers. So, does anyone out there already know how to multiply mixed numbers? You know, I told y'all before, we don't deal with mixed numbers, right? We get rid of those guys. So it's nothing different here. It's still the same. To multiply mixed numbers, convert to fractions. Because we're not rocking with mixed numbers. Sorry, guys. You guys got to go. We're rolling with fractions here, okay? So again, to multiply mixed numbers, convert them to fractions. Now let's give an example and see how this looks. When we play it out, we're going to have 2 1/3 times 3 1/2. So again, that's 2 1/3 times 3 1/2. Now, remember, we're going to start by converting first. And that means we're going to have 7/3 times 7/2. Now, we can multiply anything times anything, right? And how do we multiply? Straight across. So 7 times 7 is 49, and 3 times 2 is 6. Boom. And you know what, guys? I know usually we might convert it back to a mixed number, but it's fine just to keep it just like this. 49/6. That's our final answer. That was pretty easy, right? You know, get rid of that mixed number, convert, multiply straight across. Boom. You guys are amazing, I must say. So let's review again what we talked about today, starting with my favorite, the main principle of multiplication. You can multiply anything times anything. And because we can multiply anything times anything, that makes multiplication very, very easy. Let's review the last points that we discussed today, starting with number 1. To multiply fractions, just multiply straight across. Number 2, the brilliant idea that we can use the commutative property of multiplication, also known as the C law, to switch the denominators. And then number 3, it was huge advice that when multiplying fractions, use the C law to simplify before you multiply. Because like I said, my dear friend Dr. Khan says, simplify makes things simple. And then lastly, to multiply mixed numbers, convert them to fractions. Why? Because we don't deal with the mixed numbers, we get rid of them things, okay? Yes, convert them to fractions. All right, guys, this has been a phenomenal day. I hope that you continue to enjoy your day because lesson number 11, y'all did y'all thing. You did well. All right, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.